Hey everyone, welcome to my Iron Maelstrom Frenzy Barbarian build guide for Diablo 4 Season 2. I'm going to go over some core concepts, and then we'll look at a Nightmare Dungeon 100 later to go over some gameplay. But yeah, let's just jump right in. Right off the bat, no core skill. So the only thing we're doing damage with is Frenzy for single target and Iron Maelstrom for full clearing the screen. Of note with Frenzy is we are taking Combat Frenzy, which when you use Battle Trance, the unique amulet, it bumps it up to 40% damage reduction for a single node, which is crazy. Next thing I want to point out is we are not doing Triple Shout. Instead of Rallying Cry and Challenging Shout, we're actually replacing it with just Iron Skin. So 2 shouts become 1 ability. And we can do that because of the aspect of the Iron Warrior, which grants Unstoppable as well as damage reduction while you have Iron Skin active. That means that if you're stunned, you can use Iron Skin, makes you unstoppable, pops you out of the stun, gives you a bunch of damage reduction, and you can move on. Another alternative to Unstoppable is we are also using Charge. So if Iron Skin's on cooldown and you get stunned again, you can charge your way out of it. The only shout we are using is Warcry, partly for the damage, but also mostly for berserking. We are trying to get as much berserking uptime as possible. In order to do that, we're also taking Battle Fervor. If we move on, most of these nodes down here, damage reduction as well as bonus damage, nothing interesting. Of note is Wallop. So Wallop gives you a 15% multiplier, but you need to be using Bludgeoning. So with this build, that means you have to offhand a one-handed mace. The final thing that I kind of want to point out that we did not optimize with this build is that Iron Maelstrom gets a massive bonus to crit chance as well as crit damage. So it's a multiplier on the crit damage. With Season 2, they changed the multiplier, how it works in general. This actually kind of bumps crit damage up in terms of priority for stats. In the video today, I did not prioritize that, but you could easily do that in the future. There are definitely ways you can min-max this that would be interesting to try out. Of final note, the key passive we're going is Unconstrained. You could definitely go Walking Arsenal, although for, in my opinion, it's basically interchangeable. If you can get Berserking uptime, Berserking, Unconstrained is totally fine. Over the Vampiric Powers, I do just want to point out 3 of them. So Moonrise is what allows you to do Frenzy as like a main damage dealer. 160% increase, multiplier on it is huge. Dissipation is what allows us to use Iron Maelstrom as a screen clearer, because basically the more enemies who are on screen, the more bleed damage they take as like a massive multiplier. Definitely helps. And then the final one is Undying. This is the one that I discovered in my last Frenzy video. Because you're attacking so fast, you basically never die. This is huge. You don't need any healing anywhere else as long as you're attacking. Those are the 3 core ones. I swapped off on these other 2 a bunch. Currently in the Nightmare Dungeon that you'll see later, I was using Hectic, which is after 5 basic attacks, you get one of your active abilities reduced by 2 seconds, really strong, as well as Resilience, which is just more damage reduction the lower life you have. Huge. If you wanted, you could try to fit in Vulnerable. You could also try to fit in, I think one of these is the attack speed. That was pretty huge. We were using it for a while. I'm blind. Ravenous. So Ravenous increases your attack speed by a massive amount. Great option. Hemomancy as well for more healing. Like literally you have tons of options. Fortify or crit would probably be massive. Even the Overpower node. Any of them will work. Give it a go. For Expertise, we are going one-handed mace. That's because we are stunning enemies so much. It's a great multiplier for the dungeons themselves, not on bosses. As you will see, bossing is kind of our weakness, but other builds are better at that. So going over the core items to the builds, we're going to start off with the best item, the item that makes this work, Flicker Step. It's my favorite item of Season 2. I would recommend anybody who's just playing the game, you're creating content for the game, you're making new builds, whatever, to try this out at least once. Try to use it on every ultimate, I don't know, just try to make it work. Fantastic item. Flicker Step, 10 out of 10. We're also using Battle Trance, not necessarily required, but pretty good for the builds. Iron Maelstrom does benefit from the attack speed, but not really required. Just Super helpful for the single target because of the plus ranks in Frenzy. And the final unique that we're using is Godslayer Crown. This as well is pretty helpful, although Iron Maelstrom already hits the whole screen, so I don't know if you need to group things up. It was more of a damage boost than anything. I could definitely see you swapping this out for any of the Uber helmets or just anything that you want to try this season. Everything else, the aspects are pretty straightforward. They'll be in the D4 build guide. You can actually check the notes there too for alternatives. But yeah, let's hop into some gameplay. So what you're going to be looking out for is the cooldown on Iron Maelstrom and how quickly we can get it off a cooldown. So as long as you are evading between a bunch of mobs, you can immediately use it in maybe like 3 to 5 seconds. How the Flicker Step boots work is that you reduce the cooldown of your evade every single time you attack. So because we're using Frenzy attacking insanely fast, our evade is almost always up, allowing us to then evade straight through like 4, 5, 6 mobs, maxing out the cooldown reduction that we get, allowing us to instantly use Iron Maelstrom to take out a full screen of enemies. And you'll see that over and over again. That is the combo. Sometimes we can clear elites immediately, other times it's going to take 3, 4, 5, but you know, we make it work. Adding charge to the build is also a lot of fun. You can reposition mobs however you want. You can apply vulnerable, etc. Sometimes when you're looking at this build, you might be saying, why is the damage fluctuating so much? It's partly because anticipation actually benefits from having more enemies on screen. So the less enemies we have, it's probably more ideal to just kill them with Frenzy instead of spamming Iron Maelstrom, but it's so much fun that I just do it anyways. Overall, the gameplay I find at least to be more interesting than other builds that I've tried for Barbarian. I think you could honestly go for an overpower based version of this build to be way more meta this season. Overpower plus crit damage is probably the right way to go. I honestly don't know. I want to see people trying this out. I want to see more people using this build. I just want to see more alternatives to Triple Shout, I think. And this is definitely the best build that I've ever played that doesn't take advantage of Triple Shout. You could also go for a more standard version of this, where maybe one of the other abilities is Death Blow, potentially, and just use Death Blow plus Overpower to one-shot shit. That turns it into essentially the Kratos builds, which is probably totally fine. I don't know. This was my version that I came up with. I really enjoyed playing, and by the end of it, I was just happy that the uniques that were added, the abilities that were added in Diablo 4 Season 2 actually changed the game. So it wasn't just the exact same old sort of builds that were dominating the meta. Took me a while to find this one. There's definitely probably more out there that people aren't using that could be more meta, but this just jumping around Iron Maelstrom into Iron Maelstrom into Iron Maelstrom is a lot of fun. Would recommend giving it a go. And I think we'll skip to the end here. Actually, we're going to skip to a shrine, and then we'll get to the boss. So here I'm going to trigger a shrine, which starts an event, and that event is basically prime for Iron Maelstrom. So use Iron Maelstrom, clear the wave, spawns another wave, use Iron Maelstrom again after you evade 3 times, spawns another wave, etc. I was having tons of fun with this, got distracted, but I could see this build being great for Helltide, for any event. Basically any group play that you want would probably be fantastic. You're just chain stunning the entire screen. It's kind of crazy. Sometimes you don't full kill. Doesn't matter, evade, ground stomp, do it again. It's killer. And because I'm not trying to scam anybody, we're going to take a look at the single target. Not very good. I would recommend probably not doing tier 100s with this build. Just showed it off just because it was possible. Honestly, if you optimize, you could probably clear this way faster. I think the crit into the crit damage, plus maybe just adding overpower and overpowering the Iron Maelstrom, could probably take these bosses out easier. Adding in Death Blow probably is the one way, plus overpower, plus just one-shotting. I think they did try to boost the Kratos build a bit, but for us, you know, we went with the basic, the Frenzy, the Iron Maelstrom, getting it off cooldown as much as possible. Here you can kind of see us breaking out of Unstoppable, breaking out of CCD with Iron Skin Unstoppable, using Iron Maelstrom to clear boss mechanics, etc. But primarily our damage to this boss is through Frenzy. We get a pretty big benefit once he gets stunned. And I think we stun maybe twice, potentially. Could probably stun even more if you put more points in concussion. You could swap out some aspects to prioritize on crowd control more, but probably not needed. Anyways, thanks everybody for watching. This is a lot of fun to make. I'm hoping, you know, going into Season 3, and even some of the Season 2 announcements that they're adding, I'm excited for just the future of Diablo 4. I hope you guys are having a great Season 2. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Make sure to like, subscribe, check the D4 build below, and leave any comments, man. I enjoy making builds, but I enjoy seeing other people take those builds, turning them into something that they're not in their current state, putting them over the edge, making them meta. Yeah, sweet. I'll catch you guys later. Enjoy. Hope you're having a great time in Season 2.